Upbeat, adventurous music starts, then fades to a gentle, curious background hum. Alright, so picture this. My life, up until last month was, well, let's just call it aggressively normal. I'm talking spreadsheets, rush hour traffic, and the biggest decision of my day being what to order for lunch. My name's Brian, by the way. And then I get that call. My grandpa, a man I loved but honestly barely knew, had passed away. He left me his house. Not a condo in Florida, not a suburban two-story. No, he left me this sprawling, slightly dilapidated house tucked away deep in upstate New York. When I first pulled up, the place looked like it was straight out of a forgotten storybook. Ivy was crawling up the stone walls. The windows looked like tired eyes. And the whole property was surrounded by this ancient whispering forest. Grandpa was always a bit of an enigma. He was a quiet man, a retired history professor who collected oddities. My parents always just said, "Oh, that's just Grandpa being Grandpa." Now I was starting to understand what they meant. The first few days were just sorting. Boxes upon boxes of dusty books, weird maps of places that didn't exist, and trinkets from every corner of the globe. It was overwhelming. But then I started noticing the inconsistencies. A bookshelf that seemed just a little too deep. A floorboard in the study that creaked in a way that sounded almost hollow. It felt like the house itself was trying to tell me something. I started with the bookshelf. It was lined with leather-bound encyclopedias, the kind nobody's touched in 50 years. On a whim, I pulled out a volume. Volume G for Grandpa, I guess. Instead of pages, the inside was hollowed out, and nestled inside was a single ornate brass key and a small leather-bound journal. My heart started hammering. This was it. This was real. The journal was filled with my grandpa's spidery handwriting. It wasn't a diary, not really. It was more like a research log. He wrote about ley lines, ancient energies, and something he called convergences. He believed certain places on Earth were thinner, places where the veil between worlds was weak. And according to his notes, this house, it was built directly on top of one. The key, he wrote, didn't open a door you could see. I spent the next week following the clues in his journal. It was like a treasure hunt designed by an eccentric genius. I had to align a series of strange symbols on a fireplace mantel, solve a riddle etched into the back of a painting, and even use an old sextant from the attic to find a specific spot in the garden at sundown. Each step led to another hidden compartment, another clue. The final clue led me not to a room or a safe, but down into the old musty cellar. In the far corner, behind a stack of old wine crates, was a section of the stone floor that didn't match the rest. Using a crowbar, I pried it open. Underneath wasn't dirt, but a dark stone staircase spiraling down into the earth. It smelled of damp soil and something else. Something clean and electric, like the air after a thunderstorm. I grabbed a flashlight and descended, my footsteps echoing in the darkness. The stairs opened into a natural cavern, the walls glistening with moisture. And there, in the center of the cavern, was a pool of water. But this wasn't just any pool. The water was impossibly clear and it was glowing. A faint ethereal light pulsed from its depths, casting shimmering, dancing patterns on the cavern ceiling. It was beautiful and terrifying and utterly magical. This was it, my grandpa's final secret, a mystical underwater portal, shimmering right beneath his house. The journal ended with one final, chilling entry. I have studied them my whole life. I have mapped their paths and learned their secrets. But I am too old to make the journey myself. The key is not for a lock, but for the traveler. Brian, if you are reading this, the choice is yours. Will you be the one to see what's on the other side? So now I'm standing here at the edge of this impossibility. The light from the water is calling to me, humming with a silent promise of adventure, of worlds beyond my wildest dreams. My old life, the spreadsheets and the traffic, feels like a distant memory, like a story about someone else. My grandpa didn't just leave me a house. He left me a question, a doorway, and I have to decide. Do I step through? What lies on the other side of this enchanting underwater portal? Music swells with a sense of wonder and anticipation, then cuts out.